Hello and welcome to Odyssey of Eternity. I am Kenneth, and, well, life's been busy lately, and I know there hasn't been a lot of updates on the channel lately, but we have a lot of exciting things coming up. First off, if you haven't noticed, we have a new logo. Second off, probably seen the box glitching through my background. I moved. This has increased our streaming schedule. We've been streaming all of our games now, which is Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Sunday being Ravenloft, Monday being Tyranny of Dragons, and Tuesday being Tomb of Annihilation. We were streaming on Fridays, but we did finish up that campaign. There is some new stuff in the works, but I cannot say what it is yet. Keeping things under wraps for the time being. Next up, we have some new ways to support the channel if you'd like. We have a new Patreon and a link tree. And the Patreon is really cool. If you'd like to support me as a creator, you can subscribe to different level of tiers. At the mid to high tiers, you can gain merch that has our logo on it for the channel. You can also start with inspiration for all of your games that you play and get preferential spots in my tables. So for any new tables coming up, you would have first dibs on a spot. You can also help decide what's going to happen new with the channel. I know there's a lot of new things coming up, and if we have new books that we're thinking about running, I'll be putting things to vote on Patreon, and people can vote on what we get to do on there and see what type of content that I get to create. So today we have a really cool story time today. So what we're going to do is we put a little competition in the channel. People were wondering, well, why did the Kenku Club come to be? Like, what caused this to be a thing? And so I asked, I'm like, I could tell the story, but I think it'd be funnier and more inspiring to hear from you guys. What do you think? How did the Kenku Club get its name? So I put the call out and we got 3 absolutely wonderful submissions. Now I haven't read these yet. We're doing a cold reading of this. I skimmed through them just to make sure that it was all appropriate and that there was no grammatical or spelling errors. But for the most part, this is going to be a cold reading, and I'm going to do a dramatic reading of these things and seeing how the Kenku Club got its name. So, without further ado, let's start with story 1. How the Kenku Club got its name. The Kenku Club. Named after its inspiration, the greatest and only of his name, Kenku. Best known as the Mad Wanderer, dread pirate of the salt marsh, infamous drinker of gutbuster without death, delver of the final layer of hell, regret of Icewind Dale, unsound adventurer and eater of dragon turtle turds. Our story begins where most do in the world of Toril, in a very flammable tavern with villagers who aren't fire resistant, and an adventuring party. It is here where we meet the hero of this tale, surrounded by friends, loved by one and all, deep into his 6th cup of fire whiskey, Kenku. He dashes his cup into the fire and it erupts with flames. The villagers all gasp and the tavern falls silent. Will the hero of the only diner in Eberron speak to such lowly peasants as them? They know only chaos follows the begrudgingly adopted son of the Dark Hearts. After a moment, lingers longer than a guard offered a cookie, takes to eat it, a foolish village boy dares to approach the legendary warrior, trembling. The party bard, playing in the corner, immediately passes out from the tension, failing his saving throw against the raw intimidation of Kenku, as the boy in trembling tones speaks. Mr. Kenku, sir, please! Surely you will end us all if you do not quell the flames of your rage. We are but humble peasants in the presence of royalty. Kenku rose from his throne, as any seat he sits upon becomes one immediately by mere understanding that what cheeks grace its presence, then laughed in a deep, throaty voice granted to him during the divorce of his former dragon wife. "Let me show you what true rage is," he shouted in the voice of a dwarf that sounded vaguely like Morgan Freeman. Stealthier than a rogue, sharp D4 lurking in shag carpet for its next victim, he walked through the bar, invisible to all that reach his destination in front of the roaring fireplace. All in the tavern stared. The cleric of Kenku's party trembled, knowing that even Paylor could not bring light to blot out the shadow this warrior cast. Kenku bent forward the fire. He raised his tail, and, dear listener, a blast of gas that was heard that day. It rattled the multiverse. It echoed through the temples of Chult, the lands of Saucil. It was feared for being something ominous, and immediately distrusted. To those who had killed an Ice Maiden and settled down with kids, it was confusing. And the one scorched tabaxi named after some part of a tree, it was unimpressive. The only part of the tavern remaining was the part where the wizard burned all of their spell slots, casting shield against the damage. The villagers remained unharmed, but astounded. Instead of rioting in rage at the loss of their tavern and the majority of the town, they cheered. Let us spread the tale of Kenku, the mighty master of blast and king of all adventurers. Finn. Alright, so that one was a really good one. I really enjoyed that. That was fun. Big smile on my face. I like that one a lot. Alright, time for story number 2. This one is going to be our longest one, but we'll see how it goes. Alright, let's see here. You're a pirate! And it's Tuesday, you're a Kenku, and this is a kidnapping. She rolls her eyes. Now come in peace, or come in pieces. You're a pirate! I said again, with a confused edge. Everyone in proximity sighs as the woman shakes her head. Simpleton socks, I hate Kenkus. I open my mouth again, but she levels her sword at my face. Let me guess. I'm a pirate? I try to look indignant, but what was I going to say? Kenkus on my ship keep their beaks shut if they don't want them cut off. I search through my mind and spit with as much hate as I can. Okie dokie, Smokey! Turning away from the indecency of the response, she shouts at someone to the left before I can shelf the odd sounds of "Bag the bird!" I feel a hard thunk on my head as the sensation of the ground coming to meet me. My head feels as if a smith had been forging in it for 3 hours, went for a coffee break, and came back to hammer some more. I think the hostage is awake. Hostage. I have to save that one away for later. Make sure to pair it with a twangy voice that's 7. You awake, Birdo? I hear a thumping at my sore head and look up at the crotchetiest of crotchety old men. You Kenneth Q, young man? Is that you? Kenneth Q? I repeat, doing my best impression of his voice. A vague feeling of unease settles over me. But the throbbing in my head drowns out all other thought. Give him space! A high-pitched squeak calls from behind a massive pot from which a threatening gurgle emanates. Hi, Q! A girl just as mousy as her voice totters over to me. Try my soup! And before I can object, I feel a spoon shoved deep into my mouth. I try not to gag. It's good, right? The crotchety man gives me a look so fierce that I dare not voice my opinions. Anyway, Kenneth, the main man twangs. We're getting close to land. Kenneth. Then it hits me. Oh no. So, when the king and queen adopted me, my best friend Nick dared me to tell everyone that my name was Kenneth, firstborn and heir to the throne. Kenku was my little brother. Well, word got round, and Now there's two royal princes, Ken and Kenneth. I hear a clacking of boots, and look up to see the lady pirate scowling at me. Up you go, bird brains. I scramble up, eager to explain. I'm a Kenku! She looks at me incredulous. No duh. And marches me up the stairs. My first thought is to go back below deck and escape the sunlight. And my second is to go below and to escape the 30 pirates glaring at me. This way, I feel a blade prod my back and hurry off the ship, into a circus. The pirates around me, 10 or so, don't seem fazed by the magic, laughter, and sparkle. Hello, mister. And I look down to see the most unlikely person I'd see here. What are you doing here? What are you doing here? I mimic right back at Nyx. She gives me a wink right before her short dwarven body is shoved aside by a pirate. Move along, kid. Nyx was gone in a flash, and my thuggish brigade of pirates pushed me onward. It wasn't until we reached the big tent that I noticed a stone in my pocket that hadn't been there before. The big tent is glamorous, with brightly colored rings and multicolored lanterns hanging about the brim. Welcome, says a fat man lounging in a chair, to my circus ring, or as I like to call it, my crime ring. He laughs at his own joke, though no one else does. The gold, the woman behind me hisses. Yes, he waves a hand erringly. Nyx, will you bring our good friend her gold? The fat man jumps as a drumroll echoes from the top box. No, Nyx, there's no time for dramatics. But Nyx's voice echoes from the box. Pirates, princes, and crime bosses, please put your hands together for Nyx's fiery rescue! And before the pirates can yell in protest, the whole place explodes in a glorious chaos only Nyx can create. Sir, I have to ask for you to return home. Nope! I mimic Nyx's defiant tone, and Steward scowls. Now, Prince Ku, there's been enough tomfoolery. Not enough, if I say so myself, Nyx interjects. Oh, that's alright. And I feel myself being hoisted by Nyx onto the incoming skeleton horse. Life had been like this for the last 5 years. Nyx and I dragging each other through dozen or so dangerous situations. A bar fight with an orcish shaman who claimed to be a time traveler. Tea with a dragon in an elven ballroom. Now this latest pursuit of a necromancy spellbook that Nyx had been dying to have. But the steward was new. What's up, Mino? Nyx pats her horse. Just an hour north, Ken. Riding a skeleton horse is uncomfortable, to say the least. Watching that horse turn into a woman, even more so. This way, Mino rasps, pointing at a fissure in the stony mountainside. Alrighty, and Nox dives in, but I'm more hesitant, because Mino's eyeing me like a fine steak. The cavern is beautiful. There are flowers and gems, glowing paintings on the walls, and bodies laying on the floor, undecaying, as if they were sleeping. The book floating above them all. I'm just about to ask them when Nyx screams and I feel hot blood running down my face and onto my beak. I've been stabbed through my head. My eyeball has exploded. And they're singing. I can't read the word of this codswallop, Nyx screams as I watch from above my body as Nyx blows Minos to smithereen and snatches the book from midair. She's flipping through the pages madly. She suddenly gasps, It's the only way! Blinding light flashes in my eyes. You're not dead! Not dead? I feel the same. The only thing that's changed is that she can see me. And something cold is resting in my hand. I hold up dice. I think you have to roll it, she says, scanning the book. I'm not sure. It's really hard to understand. Roll it? And then you have to, she struggles with the translation. Follow some adventurers, I think. Then you can come home. I nod, pretending to understand, and roll the dice. Welcome to Odyssey of Eternity. I'm your host, DM Kenneth, and welcome to the Kenku Club. Okay, let's get into the game. Alright, so that was story 2. That was a fun one. Definitely was a ride there. I like how they brought it back to the start of the channel. The start of all of our videos, the drama that I tried to portray. I like that one a lot. Thank you for submitting that. And last but not least, this is our shortest entry. However, from one of the people that have known me the longest, submitted this one. So, without further ado, our last and final story. There are rumors on how the Kenku Club came to be. Some suggest it began as a kobold brigade that emigrated from Chult. Others suggest the Kenku Club began in Waterdeep. Coincidentally, around that time, that God, is that you? And I'll devour your soul! Became commonplace among the Kenku populace in Waterdeep. Between both stories, a fair dozen more are sold to the latter story, though there is a fair number that believe the former. The truth. As is with myth, there is a grain of truth. Kenku did play a part in the Kenku Club's genesis, and the aforementioned mimicry is not unheard of among the Kenku membership of the club. But the club is not exclusive to Kenku by any means. Kenku, kobold, elf, human, and more all occupy the membership of the club. Though it's not unheard of a hapless, squeaky kobold being hogtied to the rafters, especially the kobold bards. As for whether it began in Waterdeep or not, well, does it really matter when one has found a warm hearth, friends, and a family to come home? And that is our last story for the day. I want to say thank you, everyone who submitted these videos. This was a blast to read, to cold read and dramatize them. Thank you so much for submitting them. The actual story of how the Kenku Club came to be is not as glamorous. But if I had to tell you how it started, this is how it would. So it all started at a... Alright, thank you so much for watching this video today. I had an absolute blast doing this. So, links are down below. You can find my link tree if you want to view any of our streaming platforms. We stream live on YouTube and Twitch. You can support us on Patreon if you want to find the link down in the link tree below. Or you can just follow us on anything. A like, comment, and follow definitely helps the channel grow. And we cannot wait to see how far this channel flies. Thank you so much for watching. Odyssey of Eternity, signing out.